Hey law firm owners, welcome to the Your Practice Master podcast. We're your hosts. I'm MPS.
And I'm Richard James. And MPS, we've got one fantastic episode. There are going to be some highlights from our 40th, that's right, our 40th Partners Club event. Can you believe we've been doing it for this long? I guess maybe I can. I'm gray and bald.
You've been here doing it for 40. I'm a few events in, but you know.
It's still pretty exciting.
It's extremely exciting, and there's a lot to pull from.
Oh yeah, I mean, not only are they going to get some great interviews, but I'd imagine our team is going to give them some snippets and some bites exactly from our content from the stage. Would you agree?
Not only do I agree, but I'm excited because we're going to be pulling from 3 action-packed days of content, you know, between hot seats on Thursday, between me going through recruiting our Rockstar non-attorney salesperson, and then on Friday, we have the opportunity to go deep into Joey Coleman's Never Lose an Employee Again. Blaine's going to give an awesome presentation. We're going to talk about flow for sales and then wrap it all together with some implementation on Saturday.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know what a hot seat is, that means where our members are going to come up in front of the team, in front of their peers, bring their challenge statement and have their peers actually work on it together. That's pretty exciting. And I know he's being shy and a little modest, but his presentation is rocking this idea of you're going to be able to know exactly how to recruit, hire, and compensate and train your non-attorney salesperson, and he's going to give you a step-by-step process and procedure, and then that new client attraction pipeline we're going to add flow to is going to be real sexy stuff. Not to mention, we're going to be kind of overshadowed by this guy named Joey Coleman, right?
What a guy.
Yeah, Joey Coleman is the man. This idea of never lose an employee again.
And we're here talking about sales, but I mean, this concept that he's going to bring is going to be universal across every role in your firm.
So I say, without further ado, we just get to it.
Let's do it.
When we talk about flow, 3 simple questions. What is the goal? What's in the way? And what are you going to do? That focusing component is where all the power comes from. The first priority was to drive profit because profit is oxygen. None of us can do anything if we don't have oxygen. Once you have the profit, you get to graduate to the second step. And that is we've got to find a way that everybody wins. You have to hit pause and say, how can I make sure I continue to make money? But how can I make sure the team continues to improve? And how can I make sure that we're taking care of the whole company from a sustainability perspective?
One of the biggest challenges every organization is dealing with right now. All these employee challenges. All the effort we spent running ads and getting people into the funnel and bringing them in for interviews. The hard and soft dollars missed out on all this time trying to get someone in the seat to just have them leave before they had any type of value for the firm. The cost of losing an associate, on average, $651,000. These numbers are staggering, but there's a solution. In this graphic. The problem with this graphic is we over-index on the left side. How do we recruit? How do we advertise? They don't even teach this stuff in law school. I'm a recovering attorney. How do we figure out if somebody's a good fit for our firm? The research shows this too. What they did is they said, we're going to look at all the employees who went through a strong onboarding process, and then we're going to analyze their performance.
One of the big things to your big achievement is you winning the battle of the brain chemistry. If you take away nothing else, but on a daily basis, you win the battle of the brain chemistry, you will be successful. When you have that big accomplishment, what happens? Typically you celebrate, you feel good, once you know where you want to go. Because if you don't know where you want to go, it doesn't matter where you are, and it doesn't matter how you're traveling. Now you might enjoy the journey, that's cool, but you need to know where you're going and move towards it. So what is a hot seat? Some people call it a collective genius. We're going to show you a system today of focusing in all of our brain power onto one person's problem to give them a solution.
There's a lot of calls coming in that are not anything.
What's your capacity level at the moment?
There's not a lot. That's the problem.
If you got rid of the legal plans today, do you think your schedule would fill up with more profitable clients?
Would you be okay if you received higher value cases and you no longer had to go to family court?
Do you need to be the one doing all that work or a staff person doing that side of the lower profitability practice area
What do you think it would cost to hire an associate?
Do you want associates doing the work when you own the firm? Which do you want? Can you imagine what happens to your life when you earn 3 to 5 times the amount of money in a particular year that you earned in the 3 to 5 years prior to that? Your student loans get paid. Your mortgage gets paid. Your taxes get paid, and they go up, and we celebrate. You get to make sure that your retirement fund is funded. Your kids' college is paid for. You have money in the bank, and you have accomplished yet another milestone in your professional career. Not only are you an attorney after all you went through to become that person, you are also now a small business owner that has conquered the basics of small business ownership.
There's a few facts that we know absolutely to be true about non-attorney salespeople versus attorney salespeople. Non-attorney salespeople can't give advice. This is a double-edged sword for attorneys running consultations. The cool news is you get to give legal advice. The bad news is you give legal advice. Non-attorney salespeople collect more money down. Non-attorney ownership is coming, and non-attorneys will soon be able to compete with you, but as of right now, they can't. So a non-attorney salesperson puts you in a better position. So I just wanted you to have the facts about what's true versus non-attorneys compared to attorneys when it comes to the sales role.
Hey, MPS, why don't we talk about the highlights from today EAY winners. EAY, Entrepreneurial Attorney of the Year. That means these folks won a contest, right?
Or a highlight reel in of themselves. But today's mastermind, we had a lot of great topics come out of it. So the first one we went through, we talked about the importance of building a payment plan in the consult room, not just collecting a down payment and then hoping that the client takes payment into their own hands and pays the rest of their case in full, but actually building a payment plan in the consult room, right?
Yeah, the general concept is a hire is not a hire until we receive a payment, and we have a scheduled payment plan. That's the responsibility of the attorney or non-attorney salesperson, not the responsibility of the legal team after they retain the firm. That was a big one.
It was.
I'm William Grafton, my wife Kelly. We run the Grafton firm out of Towson, Maryland, which is a suburb of Baltimore. Our primary practice is in bankruptcy.
What is EAY to you?
To me, is a process. It's a time to evaluate what we accomplished over the year and set goals for the upcoming year. I use it to get in the proper mindset for the upcoming year and to cheer myself up and give me a little rah-rah going into the new year, because sometimes I can get to December and feel like we didn't accomplish much. And when I look back at it, and not just looking at the numbers, but looking back at it in a way of, I need to sell it to say, yeah, we really did a good job. The act of doing that switches something in my brain to convince myself that, yeah, we actually had a really great year, and this is how I want to one-up it for the next year.
Yeah. Similar for me, it's a chance to focus on the positive of what we've done. We're dealing with a lot of negative stuff with our clients and staff and everything else all the time. And by the end of the year, it can be really draining. And so to have this process where we, go in and search for and find the things that we should be celebrating, and we should be celebrating all along, but we specifically focus on those things instead of on the things that we need, that didn't go right? We focus on the successes, and I think that that's a huge benefit to us.
It was as good as it always is, a room full of your peers, experts, doing a deep dive into your business, and no holds barred either, which is what we need. I need someone sometimes to hold my feet to the fire and say, this is what you need to do.
100% agree. You can be honest with the people in that room, and they're going to be honest right back to you and give you some of the hard truths that maybe, intellectually, I think a lot of the answers we got today, we knew. Right, but it was validating, and it was coming from somebody that is people that we trust, and that's irreplaceable.
How has Partners Club influenced both your professional and personal lives?
As entrepreneurs and running a family business, I don't really draw a major distinction between personal and professional life. You know, my wife is my partner, and you know that's the same at home as it is in the office. So, you know, it's enhanced our lives. It's made a lot of the things that we want to experience for ourselves and for our kids possible.
It's more than just business advice. You can get that from any, soundbite on TikTok these days, and that's worthwhile, but it's the community that we have found here.
What would be your piece of advice?
The advice I would give is show up, listen more than you talk. Find somebody that has something interesting to say and learn as much from them as you can. Implement one or two things at a time. Don't try to do everything all at once, but always be doing something to move yourself forward.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to ask. Saw someone on stage that said something exciting, and I caught them in the hallway and I said, man, would you be willing to maybe show me what you did? And they said, what's your email address? Next thing I know, I have an email full of letter templates and email templates and systems and processes, and just more than I could even process at the...
And after that, we moved on from there to this idea of social media marketing. And what was the big takeaway from there?
Well, the big takeaway there was breaking social media marketing into two avenues. You've got your organic, and then you've got your paid, and then making sure on top of all of that, you've got a singular person to manage your social media marketing if you want to maximize both streams.
I would say the biggest takeaway for me was that regardless of the agencies that you have to have somebody in your office that's responsible to make sure that this social media marketing is run the way that you want it to be run. Is that correct?
Oh, you have to make sure that what you want to be happening is actually happening. And that's the only way you're going to actually see movement on both sides of that, organic and paid.
Yeah.
I'm Katanga Wright. I'm the managing partner of the Wright Legal Group, where we practice personal injury, DUI defense, probate, and veterans benefits claims. Our offices are located in Columbus, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, and Washington, D.C.
What is EAY to you?
It's really an opportunity to showcase the things that you've learned, the challenges that you've overcome, and the successes that you've had in your practice. And so for me, going through the process of applying for EAY has been very instrumental in checking in to see where we are, the pulse of the firm year to year. I absolutely enjoyed the Mastermind experience, and I enjoy the Mastermind experiences even when we have them in the Partners Club events. But today was especially important because we got to mastermind with the masters, so to speak. It was a great experience, got some good takeaways as far as direction that I need to go. I particularly was concerned about social media, and so I know now I need to be a little more laser focused in what we're doing. We've had so many challenges in the business, it's hard to pick one. But I think just from a perspective of growth, having the courage to spend money in the right places, hire people, and fire when necessary, because that's always a challenge. But I think for me, the biggest challenge has definitely been in growth and not being afraid to go through the process of what growth entails.
What is your best advice for attorneys who own their law firm in 2024?
Don't be afraid about automation and AI and what all technology has to bring. I think the technology piece that's being incorporated into the legal industry has definitely been a game changer for those who are interested in the business of law. Not so much just being a practitioner, but really embracing being a business owner. For me, I think the technology has been game changing.
Now, from there, we broke into this idea of paid consults or free consults. What happened there?
Yeah, so we took a firm that was doing paid consults, and they...
Very successful, by the way.
Very, very successful. And they brought the idea of a non-attorney salesperson, and, do I still keep paid consults? Was really the question at the top of the page. And so the answer to that question, well, it depends. But the reason it depends is because we looked at the math. And if you look at the math and you eliminate the consult fee and you put a non-attorney salesperson in there, which creates a higher set rate for your appointment setters. Well, now if we can get a higher set rate, and then we can increase our higher rate as a result of putting a non-attorney salesperson in, although we had a substantial amount of revenue being generated from consult fees. Well, now when you take the average case value plus the higher close rate with a non-attorney salesperson, you've just essentially hit the goal that you were looking to accomplish. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's basically saying, listen, if you give me $5 and I give you $50 back, how many times do you want to do that deal?
As many times as possible.
Right, and that's all we did is we just repositioned how everything was done, and we can get more money from the same work, which means that this person could grow their firm, reach their goals without having to spend more money in marketing, more money in advertising, hiring more staff. They just literally did things differently and skyrocketed their business.
Right.
My name is Jonathan Breeden. I'm a family lawyer / divorce lawyer in the suburbs of Raleigh, North Carolina. I've only filled out the application twice, but I've also become a finalist twice, and I've enjoyed doing the application both times. I don't have all the answers. Nobody has all the answers, but you put the power of a group together, a whole lot of really successful people, and you can get some great ideas about how to move your business forward. Partners Club has made a huge difference in my life. I had the leads, but I had no idea what to do with them, how to nurture them, how to follow them. I did not have systems to deal with the number of leads. I just had all these leads. And so by learning how to process the leads, nurture the leads, serve the leads, convert them into paying clients, how to provide better customer service to the clients that we had, has allowed me to have a lot more freedom of time and movement to where now I hardly ever go to court. I have attorneys that do that for me, and I've been able to spend so much more time with my family and my wife. I had sort of burned out on being a lawyer and having to deal with all the emotions and stuff of family law, and I really wanted to be a business owner, and it has showed me how to be a better business owner and has allowed me to scale the business that I would not have been able to scale without this information, because they just don't teach you how to run a business and systematize a business in law school.
For the attorneys who own their law firm in 2024, what is your biggest piece of advice?
I would say that my biggest piece of advice for attorneys that own their law firms now is to make sure that they have an understanding of where their leads are coming from, how many people are showing up, how many people are hiring, kind of their average case value, knowing their numbers as to how long it takes them to get paid, and making sure that they have a strong understanding of their profit and loss statement and that they are actually profitable. And if they're not actually profitable, they need to figure out why they're not. Maybe they need to raise their fees and do things differently. But I do think that you've got to be aware of the numbers of your business, where your leads are coming from, how you're converting those leads, when you're getting paid, and if you're actually making any money, because we're in this business to help people, but we're also in this business to pay our bills.
And then the next one, we actually had the opportunity to talk to a firm that's right there at the freedom point, right? And they're finally replacing themselves in the attorney work, in the legal work, and they've got this time. And what do we tell them?
Well, what do you do at the time? So you're the attorney, you've been grinding it away, you're constantly 36, 40 hours a week, working with clients all the time, and all of a sudden you find out you have the revenue to replace yourself as that person, so you don't have to be that person anymore. What are you going to do then? And I think we really got into, let's make sure we train your replacement well so that they can serve as well as you can.
Right.
Believe it or not, that is actually possible.
It is.
And probably even better, because they'll have sole focus on that one thing. 2, let's focus on what's happening inside the firm to optimize the firm, and let's grow from within. Look for opportunities that you're not seeing them because you're working in the trees rather than looking at the forest per se. And then 3, after you've done that, then let's look at the opportunities from there. Do we want to open up additional practice areas or additional offices? Do we want to leave law altogether in another area of investment and do something else? What do you want to do? And so really it gives you that idea or that ability when you replace yourself to start thinking differently about your business.
Right.
My name is Charles Laputka. My practice areas are primarily bankruptcy and real estate, and I am in Eastern Pennsylvania for most things, but we do extend our practice to the entire state of Pennsylvania. EAY to me is an opportunity to gather with my peers and present the things that I have accomplished in the past year. And the best part about it is while I'm preparing that presentation, it gives me the ability to look back at all of the small accomplishments that have built up over the years or the year that you don't necessarily realize you did, that culminate in the result that is profound enough to share through the EAY presentation with all of my mentors and friends.
You've been around Partners Club for a while, so holistic question here.
I can tell you that after being in Partners Club for 8 years, I have gained a substantial amount of freedom both in time and in finance to be able to do the things that I want to do when I want to do them. So, if you're an attorney in 2024 and you are struggling to find a work, life, and finance balance, what you really need to do is build systems within your practice to help you accomplish your daily tasks. There's a lot of things that an attorney does every day or every week or every month in addition to practicing law, and those things can be systematized. Also, if you have other associates or other paralegals working for you, some of the things that you're doing in the practice of law can also be systematized, which essentially distills down your time spent on a project and frees up more time for the things that you enjoy in life, whether that be golf or spending time with your family or whatever hobby that you have.
And then we got to wrap all of that up with a firm that's started to see explosive growth, and with explosive growth comes more client questions, right? And so we had to figure out, well, how do we solve client communication? And the answer for this firm was, we need a ticketing system. We need a way to manage what questions are coming in, who do they get assigned to, and what's the average response time of that client actually getting an answer.
Yeah, I mean, so look, when I was growing the firm in Phoenix, we had, at about 18 months in, we were getting 2,500 unique inquiries a month. How do you handle it? You can make as many rules as you want to try to get humans to do the job, but it just didn't work. And so getting some automation and a ticketing system and measuring what's going on is really important. The one key thing that I told them right now is I said, well, what's your current client satisfaction score? Well, they didn't know the answer to that, right? So they didn't understand what's called a net promoter score. Were they a 1 or were they a 10? Were the people unhappy or were they really happy? And so I said, well, let's get a baseline right now. Then let's put the ticketing system in, and we can find out where we are later. And then the visionary of the firm, the CEO of the firm, they can then optimize for closer to a 10, right? They can build everything they can to optimize for ultimate level of client satisfaction. Because at the end of the day, these law firms are what? They're sales-driven, client-focused companies that need to optimize for client communication and satisfaction, not the result of the case. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. That is if they'd like to continue to grow and thrive in today's climate.
Especially since the people they're going to compete against coming up now, we've heard of this, it's happening now, and it's going to happen more in the future. They're not lawyers. They don't have law degrees. They don't have the bar association to deal with. They just know they want to attract clients to have challenges. They want to serve them well. They want to charge premium prices, and they want to make sure they have excellent client communication.
My name is James Housen, and I practice out of Akron, Ohio, and we do bankruptcies all over the state of Ohio now. EAY is a place where entrepreneurial attorneys can get together and get great ideas from other attorneys and how to improve their businesses, and also developing relationships where we can develop lifelong friends, and also continue learning from each other and how to improve our businesses and improve our lives. So I looked at my numbers, and then I realized I had a chance to win this contest, because I was like, wow, I'm doing really good, and I thought that I'd have a chance to at least be a finalist and maybe even win.
And was the EAY process worth it?
Oh, it definitely was worth it, because it allowed me to look at my numbers more in depth, and also it allowed me to go ahead and try to look for ways how I can improve my business also. Professional life, it allowed me to improve the business where I can start having some time off from work and not be worrying all the time, because I was able to grow my business where I can have some independence now, which also helped my personal life to have time off for the family and be able to take vacations and get away from regular life.
For the law firm owners in 2024 who might not get it yet, who just don't have that business side down, what would be your biggest piece of advice for them?
Well, I think you have to start learning that your law firm is a business, and you have to start treating it like a business, because until you start doing that, you're going to still continue to struggle in life with your business. You'll be wondering why you don't have the cash flow. You'll be wondering why you can't make a lot of money. But once you realize you have a business and you're running as a business, then the money will just follow in, and you will gain your more financial independence and also improve your personal life.
So MPS, tell me, your general opinion of what the power of this mastermind day was. And so if nobody's ever participated in something like this, what would it be like? Why would they benefit from participating in a mastermind day like this?
Well, look, we call it the collective, right? You've got a group of EAY finalists, which means they earn the right to be in that position. They're there for a reason. And so now you've got Richard, myself, Blaine, our EAY finalists, all together working on a hyper-specific problem that you're trying to solve in your practice. And so you've got this collective mind working together to do that, which breeds ideas, which breeds implementation, and that's the power of being in that EAY Mastermind Day.
I would call that a multi-million-dollar day. It wasn't a multi-million-dollar day for us.
No.
We didn't earn multi-millions of dollars, but I would tell you that the ideas and the concepts and the implementation that's going to take place and that they're going to go and put into action is going to equal multiple millions of dollars in revenue generated, profit realized, and more importantly, the freedom that they achieve because of the business that they built. Agreed?
Easily.
Yeah. Listen, if you want to grow your practice, you need to get in front of a group of really smart, intelligent, hardworking peers that are also growing their practices so you can learn alongside of them. That's what Partners Club is all about.
I'm sure you took tons and tons of valuable information from that little recap and the highlight reel from the event. I mean, geez, there was tons to pull from, right?
Yeah, I mean, if they didn't learn something just from those snippets, they weren't paying attention, right? So at the end of the day, all you want to do is learn how to take one thing from what you heard today, and I think you're going to have moving in the right direction towards building a firm that supports your lifestyle rather than undermines your lifestyle. If they wanted to go next, what should they do?
Well, we got the gentleman's agreement around here, right? Well, gentlemen and ladies. And so, look, if this isn't your first time listening or watching to the podcast, we just ask that you make sure you hit that follow or the subscribe button, depending on where you're listening or watching. And then show some love down in the comments for everyone that participated in the event. Let us know if you had any questions. And, of course, hit that like button, and we'll be sure to see you on the next one.